Hello everyone, welcome to this demo on how to create an animated GIF and a stop motion inside Photoshop. We're going to start with the animated GIF, which is a singular image that you're looking at the screen right now, a hand dipped in red. And what we're going to do is, from a singular image, we're going to create a series of 5 images that have different tones of color. And then we're going to animate them to have the image kind of flicker through different colors. So that's going to be the first lab that I'm going to show you. The second one is a stop motion, and that one I'm going to go a little bit more in depth of what you can really do in the timeline here in Photoshop. So first we have to start with this one right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color 5 times. Now, if we go to the layers, and for those of you that are new in Photoshop, the layers are right here on the left side. If you don't see your layers on the left side, it could be that they're hidden. To set up your workspace so it looks similar to mine, there is a menu right here on the top. It looks like a little box with some dots on the left side. If you click there, you have different workspaces. If you go to photography, it will reset the workspace to photography, and then you'll see the layers right here at the bottom. Right now mine is going to look a little bit different because I have my own workspace that I like using, but for this lab I'm going to keep it right here so that way you can look at yours similarly to mine. So I'm going to open up the layers and bring it up out here. In Photoshop, all the panels are organic, meaning that they can be pulled out or you can reattach it to any area and they can reattach to it. Okay, so as soon as you see that blue line that appears, like that one, that basically means like, oh, you can actually attach this panel there. But any of the panels are movable. If at some point it looks very different because you start messing with the panels and like moving them around, you can always reset the workspace that you're at by going here, reset workspace, and then it go back to the original location. Anyway, that's a little review for some of you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. There are many ways of doing this, but I want to keep it simple so that way you can do it quickly and you can basically learn it and apply it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I have my background layer, which is this one right here. Okay. And I'm going to duplicate it. And to duplicate it, I'm going to press Command J for jump. Okay. So now I have one more copy of the background on top of it, and it's going to name it to layer 1. I'm going to do Command J, 3, 4, 5. So now I have my 5 layers that I needed. The first thing I'm going to do is whatever layer you have active, remember that that's the one that's going to be affected. Right now I have this one active. If I click here, then that one is going to be active. So I'm going to select the top one and I'm going to press Command U. Okay. And that's going to open this panel right here. And in this panel, what we're going to do is, this is a hue and saturation panel. We're going to basically move the slider of the hue to the left first and then to the right. So I'm going to start with this one to the left. And you're going to see that the hand color will change. Let's see. It's taking a little bit of delay there. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to start first at the beginning here to see what color. So it was red. Let's see. We can do pink. We can do blue. Let's do pink. Or actually, pink is kind of close. Let's do there, violet. Okay. So that's our first one. And I'm going to press OK. All right. So now we have the purple. And we can click in this little eyeball here to turn off the visibility. And you click on it. And then you will see the one right underneath, which is layer 1, copy 2. Once you have that one right here underneath, then you're going to click on it. Remember that now this one is active. So if I press Command U, it's going to open again this window and you're going to slide it. Remember that it might take a little bit to show you the preview. So I'm going to put this, let's put a blue like somewhere here. And I'm going to press OK. All right, so now I have the blue. Now I'm going to turn off the visibility so I can go and see, because if I have the visibility, basically this layer is going to cover this one, right? So I don't want that. I want to make sure that I can see the one that I'm affecting. So that's layer 1 copy. And I'm going to press Command U again. Now I already did all the way to the edge almost. So I'm going to go to the right side now. And I'm going to select, let's say, orange there. Oh, a little bit more. Or let's see, I want it yellow. Maybe there. Okay, I'm gonna press OK. I'm gonna turn the visibility off, and then I'm gonna select layer 1, press Command U, and I'm gonna go all the way to see what other green. Okay, let's do green, and then press OK. So now I have background, right? Layer 1 copy, and all of these are different colors. Okay, so that's the first step that we needed to do. Okay, so we have the background that we duplicated 5 different times, or 4 times, to make 5 layers by pressing Command J, Command J, Command J, and then Command J. And then you have all those. And then remember that you have to start with the top one, Command U, change the color, and then you turn off the visibility, and then keep going down. Once you have all of this, that's our first step. Okay, so which is pretty easy. Now that we have that, we're going to go to Window right here on the top, and then we're going to go down to where it says Timeline. Okay, so Window and then Timeline. You're going to click there, and it's going to open this panel. And I know that a lot of you have done Photoshop, okay, maybe for a while or for a little bit. So one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that Photoshop actually has the capability of editing video and making animations. And that's where the timeline comes in, and it's that bottom bar that you see right here. Now, to activate this, there are 2 options. You're going to see this little arrow here right next to create frame animation. You have to click on that arrow, and then you're going to see that one says create video timeline and the other one says create frame animation. Most of the time, the first time that you open this is going to have the one that says create frame animation. So I want you to do the other one. Create video and timeline is the first option that shows up. And I want you to do the second one, the one that says create frame animation. So if I click here, for example, create frame animation, it doesn't do anything. Okay, so if you are on create video timeline, let's say by default in your computer, and you click here and you change it to create frame animation, you're not done yet. You're basically just showing up the option here, but it's not actually opening it. So there's a very, very important step, and it's after you put create frame animation, you're actually going to click on it, and then it's going to open it. Okay, so that's a very important step that a lot of people change it to create frame animation, and then they don't click on it, and they're like, oh, it's not working, I don't see anything. It's because they haven't clicked on it yet. So once you are inside the timeline frame animation right here, there's one step that we have to do to bring the layers that we have up here. Okay, so we did these layers right here, and we have to bring them to the timeline. To do that, you're going to go to this little icon right here, and that icon is in all the panels, and that's the menu for that panel. If you click on it, there's one option that's going to say make frames from layers. You're going to click right there. Okay, and once you open that, it's going to bring all these layers to the timeline. And the next step that you have to do is change the duration of each frame when it's actually playing it. So I'm going to click on the first one, okay, to make sure that one is selected, and then I'm going to press Shift and click on the last one. So now they're all selected. I'm going to go in any of them, doesn't matter which one you go to. Where it says 0 seconds, I'm going to change it to, let's do 0.1, so it's kind of quick. And once you do that, you're going to verify that it says forever here, because you can do it like once, 3 times, or forever. But for this, we're going to change it to forever. Okay. And once you do that, if you hit play, you will see how the image kind of flickers. Okay. It's actually going, frame by frame. So this is a quick way to animate a photograph, right? And it doesn't have to be the overall image. This image, because it was in a white background and it was a red color, was easy to just change the hue and just animate it. But you can have it where like the t-shirt of somebody is flickering in different colors. So you can have it, I don't know, whatever idea you have, you can have a section of the photograph be the thing that's changing and not the rest. Okay, so this is just a quick one that I thought that we could do. But anyway, this is basically the first option that you have, and I'm going to stop it right now. And once you create it, if you're happy with it, then you can go ahead and export it. Okay, so this is an animated GIF, what we're going to do, and the whole purpose of this GIF is so you can email it to people. You can embed it in a website. I don't know if you have gone to a website and you usually have those ads that have like little quick, GIF. Sometimes they have it on the phone too when you're texting somebody that they have those quick animations. So this is what this is, right? It's something that's supposed to be easy to share. So before we share it, you have to make sure that your image is resized to a small size, because we don't want to be sending like a huge GIF, because it will basically clog up the email and it won't play correctly. So we're going to go to image size, and you have to make sure that it's a size that is low enough. This one was already kind of resized to 1000 pixels on the longest side, resolution 260. I'm actually going to make it even smaller. So I'm going to click here where it says resolution, and I'm going to change it to 72, because that's the web resolution, the standard web resolution that people use. And for pixels, I'm going to do the height 800. Okay. So I'm going to resize it to the height 800 to whatever it gives me on the width, and the resolution I change. You have to keep in mind that you always have to change the resolution first when you're changing pixels, because if I have, for example, if I had 1000 here, right? And let's do this, and I put, let's say, assume that it was 300 to 1000. Okay, so if I want to change this, let's say to 800 right here, right? I have resolution 300, the width is 1000, the height is 2000. If I want to change the height to 800, and I do that, and then I come here to resolution and put 72, do you saw what happened, right? The height got changed. So you always change the resolution first, and then you go here to the height, or whatever you want to change it to, and change the pixel size. Okay, so remember that step, always the resolution first, and then go here to the width or the height to change the pixels, because if not, it's going to change it whatever you put on the pixel side when you change the resolution. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, just let me know. I'll clarify it later. And you're just going to press OK. So it's going to make the image a little bit smaller, because I don't want it huge. And once I do that, I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export. And I'm going to go Save for Web right here, Legacy. Okay. And once I'm here, the main thing that you have to change is this area right here on the top where it says GIF. Okay. It might be that in your computer it says JPEG when you get to this window. The only thing that you have to do is change it to GIF, because we already resized it, so we don't have to change anything here. There are some settings that can affect how the image looks, but for now we're not going to go too in depth. So just change it to GIF, and then you're going to hit save. Okay, and then you can save it to your desktop or wherever you're going to save it. Okay, and once you save it, I'm going to do it on my desktop, and then that way I can share it later with you guys. Okay, save. And you can leave all these settings how they are. Okay. Basically, that's it. Once you export that, it's going to be an animated GIF, and you can put it in an email, and when people receive the email and they open the email, automatically the image will actually play. So you don't have to do anything like play it or anything like that. It's meant to be shared like that. So that was pretty easy. That was the first one. Now I'm going to do the other one, which is going to be this one right here, which is going to be a stop motion that I did. Just putting like these lines in a dot and moving it around. So I'm going to go to Photoshop and show you how we're going to do that part. So I'm going to close this one already. I'm not going to save it. Okay. So I'm going to go here to Photoshop. And what you have to do is, first, which is really important, you have to make sure that you place the images that you are going to use for the stop motion in a separate folder, right? Let's say that you took 100 pictures, right? And you selected that you were going to only use 40. Okay, those 40 pictures that you're going to use, you need to put them in a folder that's separate, and make sure that you rename them and that they're in order. Okay, that's very important that they're in order, because if they're not in order when you put it on the timeline, it's just not going to work. Okay, so look at the folder and make sure that the numbers follow the order that you want, because some cameras, when they get to 999, they start at 1 again. So for example, if that happens in the middle of your shooting, the ones that are in number 1, even though they came later, they're actually going to be at the beginning. Okay, and you have to make sure that you look through it and it makes sense what you're looking at. Once you have them in a separate folder, okay, the 40 or how many you're going to do, you're going to go here to File in Photoshop. Then you're going to go to Scripts. Okay, so File, Scripts. and then, and then you're going to go load files into stack. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to create a document that's going to have all those images onto layers. Okay, instead of having an individual document that has different tabs, it's basically going to be one document with all those images as layers separate. Okay, so I'm going to click here so you can see what happens. Okay, so once I go here, it's gonna, you're gonna use the file and you're gonna click browse. Okay, so you click browse right here, and it's gonna open this. I'm gonna go to my desktop because I put them there. Demo stop motion. I'm gonna select these right here. You can see that I renamed them and I put RR001. So I click on the first one, and I have 45. Mine is kind of long, so I click 45 and I click open. And then once you do that, you will see them here, and then you just have to press OK. Now this might take a little bit depending on, the image size and what you did. You can see how it's loading them as layers right here. Oh yeah, I did a lot of pictures. Okay, so right now they're all right here on my layers. Okay, so let's make this, well, I don't have to make it all the way big, but you get the idea, right? It starts with number 1 and it goes all the way to 45. Okay, and you don't have to do anything. If you did it right and you have them in order, they should be in order right here and they should look fine. Now that I have this, now I need to pass this to my frame animation at the bottom. Remember, you click here, make sure that you're on create frame animation, and then you click on the middle, and then it will open this. Now the only thing that I have to do is bring those layers here as frames. So I'm going to click in the menu. Remember this one. Okay, that looks like a justified paragraph. Then you're going to click there, and you're going to click make frames from layers. Once you click on make frames from layers, it's going to bring all of them down here, and you're going to do the same thing that we did for the previous one. We're going to select the first one, and you're going to go all the way to number 4, the last one, in my case 45. Press shift, click on it, it selected everything. I'm going to change the speed to maybe 0.2. Oh, by the way, what that does, if I didn't explain it before, I should have. Sometimes I do that. I assume that people know stuff. And if I do that, just remind me and be like, hey, I don't know how to do that, and I'll let you know. No delay will basically be no delay. The higher the number gets here, the slower it will be. Okay, and I think usually 1 or 2 works the best. Let's see how 2 looks. Forever, and then let's hit play. There you go. So that's my quick stop motion that I did with the awesome help of my daughter. And it seems to be working, right? It's moving along. I think it could be a little bit faster. So I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to select them all again. Whoop, not that. I have to go to the first one, and then go all the way to number 45. Yeah, I think it was a little bit too slow. And now let's see how it looks faster. Yeah, it looks a little bit more smooth. The one thing I did when we were making this is that the motions are kind of drastic, so it looks like it's jumping a little bit. Now it's like rendering, so we have to, yeah, the wheel of death. Okay. So if you want a smooth motion, you have to do like less motion where you're moving your stop motion, right? In this case, we did it kind of quickly because we wanted to do less frames, so it was actually faster. So that's why it looks like it's jumping, but I don't mind that for this one. But it seems like it's too much for the computer right now to handle it. It's freezing on me, but I will export it and share it with you so you can see how it plays. But right now I do have a lot of frames. It's 45, and it's just taking forever to process it. So let's see if it will play now. Maybe if I leave it for a second, it will actually play. Yeah, it seems to be a lot. So when this happens, it's better to just export it, and then you can see it, how it looks better at the end. And if you don't like it, then you can come in here and fix anything that you saw. But right now I do have a lot of frames. Usually you don't want to make something this long. For the ones that you guys are going to do, I suggest that you do around 20 to 30 frames. That would be ideal. So that way you have a good narrative that something actually happens. And you can add more, later. If you actually do by sections and then you put them together, that will also work. But for this one, it seems that it should be working. It could be that I have a lot of programs and I'm recording this, so it's just crashing everything. But I will share with you the final version so you can see it. But this is basically what you're going to do for the second one. So the first one is going to be just changing the colors, okay? And you're going to just have the colors flicker through. And in this one, you're going to basically create a stop motion where you have to put it together so it looks like a video, okay? And once you're done with that, if you have any questions while you're doing it, remember that you can always pause the video, go back and look at it, but you can also let me know and I'll clarify anything that wasn't clear during the video. But I think I covered everything that I wanted. For this one, you export it the same way. You can also export it as a video if you wanted to. So there is one here that says render video when you go to export. Instead of doing save for web, you can also render as a video. I'm going to do that so I can share it with you guys later. And basically it's going to render that. Later on, we're going to do an assignment where instead of doing the create frame animations, we can do the video frames. And that's you actually can edit video per se. Here we're doing frame by frame, but we can actually do clips in Photoshop, and you can edit video. And I'll show you that how to do that later. Anyway, so that's what I need to show you regarding technique on how to create this. I know I went kind of quickly, but I'm hoping that I will elaborate if you have questions. So I'll see you in a little bit and hope that you can have some fun with this assignment and create something amazing. I'm looking forward to see what you all will create. I think it's a great assignment to kind of like think about what would be interesting visually and how you can take advantage of the frame by frame, right? Because then you have things that you can change in the middle of frames. You can change sizes or replace things. So the transformation aspect of this capability of stop motion is really fun. So I hope that you all take advantage of that. Anyway, I will see you soon, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.